If you ever downloaded a 3D model from somewhere like TurboSquid and imported it into three.js and experienced it, instead of looking like this, it ends up looking like this, then this is the tutorial for you. I'm going to show you how to take a .glb file, add in some nice environments, contact shadows, refraction material, and a good old standard material to go from this to this. So first thing is to download your 3D model. Now this 3D model I'm using isn't in a .glb format, so I need to import that into Blender and then re-export that as a .glb. Once I've got my .glb, I can go to this website here, gltf.pmnd.rs, and then drag and drop my glb file or .gltf file. What this is going to do is save me so much time because it's extracted the mesh components, the mesh components of the model, and supplied it as a React-like component. Then I can use that in React Free Fiber as my starting point. So I'm going to copy that into my React Free Fiber project, and now I can actually render it out. But it's a bit too big, so I'm going to scale it down and position it slightly. So let's put that as 1/10 the scale, and for rotation, I'm going to rotate it so it's on its edge slightly but off axis to get a bit more of this visual interest. Next, let's use a HDRI to light our ring and give it an environment. So it's kind of two birds with one stone. You can head over to polyhaven.com, and I've chosen this Pine Attic HDRI, which suits the kind of warmth that I'm going for. So you can download that and then import that into our project, which I've already done here. I've added it into the public folder. Now that's inside your project, we can use the used environment hook and the environment component to render out that environment. Next is to render out the background and then blur it. Next, let's add in some contact shadows to give it a bit of a grounding. And then position it so that it is sitting just on the edge, the bottom of the edge of the ring. Blur it slightly to help it blend in and reduce its opacity. Next, let's replace the default materials on the ring to make them look more metallic. I'm going to assign this mesh standard material to a variable and assign it to the 3 meshes inside that ring. When changing materials, I do need to refresh to see the changes. And then in order to see the environment inside the ring, I can reference that map. Now we can adjust the metalness and roughness settings to better mimic gold. So now it's on to our main event, the diamond. And in order to make it look like a diamond, we can use a material known as a mesh refraction material. And that is as simple as taking out the default, and you've guessed it, passed in a mesh refraction material. However, it does require a property known as an env map, and that's the same env map we used before, the environment. So it knows how to sample the environment to create those refractions. Let's just refresh. And we can see a much more diamond looking diamond. Let's change the aberration strength to give it that kind of rainbow fire effect. I think a value of 0.2 will work well. And then finally set the bounce level. We can I think it defaults to 2.4, but if we want to go for something a bit more dynamic, we can increase it from 4 or reduce it. That sort of bounces a 1, going to 2 and 4. I think less is more in this case, so I'm going to go with 2. Finally, let's have a spotlight that goes from above, just to give a bit more kind of contrast to the reflections inside the ring. And that's as simply as setting a spotlight from above, positioning it high up, so about 3 meters above, and setting its intensity to about 5. So here it is with the spotlight and without. So just get a bit more of a rim lighting to parts of the ring. See here and here. And there you have it. This is how you go from this, which is the standard way you import a ring into React Refiber, to this, something a little bit more dynamic, more fun to look at, and just overall better presentation. Thanks for watching.